Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And as a lot of you guys know, I was originally, when going to the Capitol, going to be joined by Pat Miletich. Now, I went down there a couple days earlier. I wanted to get a much more, on camera, get a feel for where we were going. Pat ended up coming a little bit later, but actually going to the Capitol before me. And even before all the controversy that we're about to talk about happened, we had planned on doing a broadcast and talking about the whole thing. So what better opportunity to describe his accounts, because we actually ended up having dinner after the incident. It was while we were sitting down having steaks that Congress actually reconvened. You see, they feared so much for their lives from a coup d'etat of the people storming the Capitol and rioting that they were still able to certify the electorate. That's how scared they were as we ate steak dinners because we were such a riotous threat. But Pat's here to talk about the LFA, the impending big tech censorship, the Capitol in particular. I've lost 2,000 followers plus now in the last 3 days alone. So this is much bigger than Trump. And now Project Veritas has released the video of Jack Dorsey talking about it. Going to be one of these events where it's not only going to be banning Trump, but many more people in the days, weeks, and even months coming. So, Pat, I've rambled on. You can follow him at Miletich P. His other account he's locked out. This is how you can follow him. First of all, how are you, man? It's good to finally talk to you after all this madness. We've texted a little bit back and forth. And then just kind of get into it. Talk about the Capitol itself and everything that went down there.
No, dude. I was bummed because, we got there a little bit too late to the Washington Capitol to even be anywhere near where you were. There were I think there were 10 Michigan Ann Arbor football stadiums full of people. Well over 1 million people there. It was amazing. But so I just couldn't get to you, and I wanted to hang out with you because, well, I just like hanging out with you, bro.
I love hanging out with you too, brother. And again, that's what people don't understand.
What we saw where we were at, which was really kind of unique, was we were kind of on the outskirts of the crowd. And as we were on the outskirts of the crowd at the Washington Capitol, we saw two guys dressed in black, hoods, black masks, with backpacks on, with baseball bats hanging out of them. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there saying, are they just trying to draw attacks? Is that what they're doing? Like, these are guys walking through Trump supporters who are all about love and peace and freedom and everything else. And then you got two guys walking through the crowd with their baseball bats hanging out of their backpacks. And I'm like, and I was the first one to ask them, because obviously I don't give a shit. Pull your baseball bat out, it's still not going to work because I got a hard Croatian head. Was what baseball team do you play for, bro? That's what I said. What baseball team do you play for? And they looked at me and they wouldn't say a word. Right? They were there as plants to get Trump supporters to attack them. That's all. It was very clear.
Well, let's talk about.
They were walking right through the center of the Trump crowd, bro.
Let's talk about the fact that I didn't see, and I was there very early. I was there at 8:30 in the morning, and I was actually up by the monument in the very beginning. I was trying to find a place that I could live stream, but as you know, cell data was jammed. It was hard for me and you to text back and forth, even picture messages, all those things. I didn't see almost any police presence. They were around the gates where they were, and very small police presence.
I mean, why do you need cops for Trump supporters? They patrol themselves, dude. They're law-abiding fucking citizens.
Well, that's my point is, Pat, they wanted to paint all these people in a domestic terror fashion after the fact. And first of all, at the time, I saw zero military. In other words, all these National Guard people that were supposed to be there, I saw zero of them. I'd been there 3 weeks before, and it was littered with police on almost every street in the frog suits. Now, here's the next conundrum. Under that big hype of the war on terror, it was if you see something, say something, Pat. And one of the big things is if you saw an unattended bag from a possible domestic terrorist, oh, baby, it was on a backpack, all that stuff. literally there were stacks of backpacks everywhere that were unchecked, unattended, and full of God knows what. Not only at the main checkpoint in the middle, but at each light post. So it's almost like a bad Orwellian joke when you get to what actually happened. Now, let's fast forward, because you're up on the Capitol, you're up on the monument. You're one of the first people to be on one of these lines of marches to the Capitol. So you got to see firsthand where the initial quote unquote breach happens. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, the minute during Trump's speech, and I haven't looked at his speech and the minutes of his speech, but I'll have to check, and maybe you could clarify that for me. Mm-hmm. The minute he said, go to the Capitol, is when we all started talking and said, hey, we're already at the back of the pack. Let's go. Right? Let's go. Let's get ahead of the crowd. And we were. I mean, there were sparse remnants of people ahead of us walking to the Capitol. I mean, have you done the mapping from the Washington Monument area to the Capitol, how many miles that is?
It's a little bit like over a mile, but it feels a lot more because it's uphill. And basically, you've got different.
It is. It felt like a lot more than a mile.
Yeah, it might be 2, Pat, because I think it was like 1.9 on my GPS when I first.
Yeah, so it's easy. Yeah, it felt like way more than a mile. Yeah. Anyway, I just said to the guys and some of the guys I was with, and they were saying the same thing. Let's go. Let's get ahead of the crowd. Let's get up on the barricades, only for the purpose of seeing everything up front, right? So we went up and we went left center on the barricades that were around Capitol Hill on that side. Of course, there were barricades all the way around it. And so anyway, we got there way early, and we could see the sea of people coming behind us. It was cool to look at, actually, because we're up a little higher, and we could see literally 1 million people. It had to be 1 million people. It was, as I said, 10 Michigan Ann Arbor football stadiums full of people walking up the roads toward the Capitol. It was really amazing to see. And everybody wants to be there for a historic moment, whether Trump gets confirmed and things get overturned because of the corruption or whatever. It's a historic moment nonetheless. Everybody's there for that reason, right? Just showing support for President Trump. So after the crowd gathers, right, and there's, I don't know how many 100,000 people packed up against those barricades, I see the police pull the barricades open and start waving people up the hill. And as people start flowing up the hill, I don't know where you were in all of this, but I said to my guys, and all of us immediately, it's like we all had our spidey senses go up and go, no, don't do it. Don't go up.
You called me.
Don't do it.
You called me. Remember, you called me. So we talked, and you told me that basically they had gone up, and you hadn't seen anybody breach the actual Capitol indoors yet. But you said, look, man, they just went past the lawn, and now they're up on the actual Capitol. You told me you were going to stay there. And on top of that, people don't understand. Everybody frames this as, oh, Trump sent a bunch of people to the Capitol. Yeah, there was a permitted protest going on. In other words, Trump was actually supposed to go up there at 3 p.m. and either speak or show himself at a permitted protest. And as you said, now we've seen some of the videos. And, we're not trying to say that the people that didn't get violent shouldn't be charged with something. Those people absolutely should. But the vast majority, like you said, they let people up. And by the time I got up there, like you said, there was the sea of converging people. If you were watching it, and from the left-hand side, there were actually 2 streets that converged up by the pool, which was up on the right-hand side. So, after I talked to you and you were like, I think they're going to go inside, I'm like, all right, Pat, I'm on my way. And I filmed my way up there. And as I got up there, basically you had the people that had already taken the top of the Capitol. And then when people were running up to the second area before the bleachers were kind of overtaken, you could watch as the police that were still up there still kind of macing those people before they gave up and gave up that perimeter spot up on the top. And then only in the middle crowd.
That was on the back side of the Capitol, though, right?
That's where I was. I was on the front. Actually, when I say I'm not sure what the back or the front is, basically I came up right where the crowd was, and they had taken what
Were
was.
were you on the side where the hill that went up, the grass hill?
I'll tell you what. Let's just show it to you. We'll bring some of this footage up, guys. You know, you've seen it, and we'll show Pat from where we were before
but
we
ultimately,
actually.
Here's what I saw though, Jason. What I saw. Is when police opened the barriers on the grassy hill side facing the Washington Monument side, right? They opened the barriers, the barricades, and invited people up with waving hand gestures.
So when I got
crowd
there,
the crowd started to pour up the hill, and the cops across the line, you could see them all across the line running up the hill towards the Capitol. And then from the left, in moved all the guys in riot gear. I don't know if they're law enforcement. I don't know who these guys are. I assume they're law enforcement. But then they start, because we start hearing explosions.
Yes.
We start hearing explosions of stun grenades, tear gas canisters. They're all getting sprayed with OC spray. They're getting hit with rubber bullets. All of this stuff is going on. And it was like, okay, I did an interview with a local news station today. And the kid actually asked me, I gave the description of everything that happened, the opening of the barricades. The crowd moves up the hill. Hundreds of thousands of people pouring up the hill. And then all of a sudden they start getting hit by guys in riot gear with all these different less than lethal tactics. And it pisses the crowd off, right? And spurs them on to march forward even harder, right? And he goes, this news kid says to me, he goes, what makes you think it was planned? And I said, when was the last time you saw law enforcement open barricades and wave people in? Are you kidding me? And he looked at me and he goes, wow, okay, yeah, I get it. So it was all planned. Everything was planned, everything they did. And we already knew, Jason, you and I talked about this, was that a lot of Antifa was going to be dressed in Trump clothing and causing violence, right? We knew that.
And we recorded. I mean, let's get to. Let me see if I can find. I believe it's 117 somewhere in there in my videos. But I actually. So this is footage right here of when they've tried to smash the window here.
Oh, they're trying to hand up sledgehammers. Who the hell brought a sledgehammer to the fucking? Come on, man. And I'm there symbolically. We're all there symbolically. Demonstrating that we're tired of corrupt government, and they're trying to hand up sledgehammers and door breaching tools.
Yes,
right?
And not only that, you hear the crowd. Let's bring up some of the volume. When they hand it up, watch, he gives it to the police officer.
Dude, you get attempted murder, you hit somebody with a fucking sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And then a couple people get upset.
A lot of people are saying, don't do that.
And exactly, it's a minority. I actually, during this video, I have the people with the bats that try to break the window get pulled down. A lot of people, don't want to bring up that reality. And this is when I'm up on the second level during this thing. And basically, I wanted to get what was the most violent. I wanted to get, eventually they do breach the window over to the left-hand side. But I also wanted to get what other people were doing, and who these people were, so we can point out the people that were being violent with police. Because
and absolutely the people that were being violent, breaking windows, breaking into the building, and breaching the building, absolutely should go to jail. Because I stayed down on the street while everybody poured up on the hill. We had no idea that the building had even been breached, right?
Yeah.
We just thought everybody went up on the building and around the building as a symbolic gesture to our politicians that, hey, We're sick of your corruption, right? Like we can reach out and touch you eventually, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the thinking?
Yeah, well, again, it's that you have this frustration where people don't think they have redress for grievances. And no matter what you believe about the election, Pat, these people believe that they should have at least looked at the evidence, right? The Supreme Court should have at least looked at the evidence of what this fraud was, which they did not do. What is their redress but peacefully occupying the halls of government, right? And I think that was what the vast majority wanted to say. This is supposed to be the house of the people. This is our house. You have refused to even look at our evidence or hear our voices. This is the next step.
Right.
And they've portrayed that as, what I think needs to be this next level of civil disobedience, which we have to do on a local level, as possible domestic terror. And, they're going to try to get this through. We now have a uni government. It is actually very scary and very concerning. And people need to realize that, this is very, very serious. All of this stuff is serious. So what's even more serious to me now is the aftermath. Because like you said, you didn't storm the Capitol. You were there with many other people, just like I was there with many other people, peacefully. We didn't break anything. Okay, we didn't, trespass anywhere. All that's bullshit. So at the end of the day, now for them to cancel people that would even dare show up and be one of maybe the 75 plus million that voted for this guy, or not, just want to cover it, right? Or just think maybe something was wrong with the election, all of a sudden they can label you a domestic terrorist, and if not, try to cancel you and now get you fired from your job. So let's talk about, I guess, these pictures and what you went over.
Let's talk about Jason. Jason, let's talk about getting fired from jobs.
Let's do it. That's what we need to do. Yeah, let's talk about it.
No, hey, look. Again, I've been. I don't know what. How do you put it, buddy? How do you put it? I've been distanced, right? I've been distanced. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the word. And again, support the LFA. Get the UFC Fight Pass. They put on great shows, incredible shows. They're great human beings, all of them. I love them all. The people, the cancel culture people, are the ones that need to pay the price for this. They're the ones that, anyone who calls on another restaurant for not seeing enough masks on employees, that's the person that you need to just not give your business to. The people that would call on family gatherings, those are the people that you need to put pressure on. The anti Goebbels, Department of Information. That's the people that need to get pressure. Like, if you're going to be a narc on your fellow citizen and tell the government that they have a family gathering of 15 or more, you're the motherfucker that needs the pressure. You're the fucking person that needs to get outed for being a Goebbels supporter. And if you don't know the name Goebbels, you might want to look it up in history, because you are one, and you're a scary motherfucker, right? Period. End of story. So I'm to the point now where the guy that started all the shit on me, Mike Jackson, went from a great guy to all of a sudden white people are the devil, right? I don't know where it came from, probably from somebody's pocketbook, probably paying him. He asked me to corner him for the UFC fight against CM Punk. I drove, I don't know how many hours it was, dude, from Branson, Missouri, from doing a show on a Friday night, all the way to Chicago, got there just in time to, get into the locker room, all that sort of stuff, and corner him against CM Punk. And they brought Mike in to lose that fight. Mm-hmm. I mean, they thought Mike was maybe a bad enough fighter that looked good enough where CM Punk might be able to win a fight. Right? and Continental Airlines Arena, or whatever it is, in Chicago was full to see CM Punk fight. Mm-hmm. Right? CM Punk's a huge name.
Yep.
And Mike Jackson's just good enough to beat him. Right? like just good enough. And I love Phil. CM Punk's a great guy, but he can't fight. Let's be honest, he just can't fight. And so Jackson wins the fight. Dana White says Jackson never fight again. We get the lockdown. Mike Jackson's not getting any money because he's a MMA photographer and some other stuff, and not making any money. So somebody probably offered him money as a influencer to start slamming and pushing Black Lives Matter stuff and whatever it is. And you know what? He had it out for me because I called him out. I said, somebody's paying you. For a couple months, I would post on his Facebook stuff and go, who's paying you to fucking be like this, bro? Who's paying you to do this? And then he released the story that I support domestic terrorism and all this other stuff, and made some very, very slanderous statements in his headlines. Look, if I thought the guy had a dime to his name or a pot to piss in, I'd have my attorney bury it, right? Because I've got a good attorney. But do I really want to spend the time and bury his ass? I don't know. You know, I'm not that vindictive of a guy, right? Karma catches up to people like that try to ruin other people's lives. I can tell you this though, Jason, that, you know, I got a message from God when I had the conversation about maybe being distanced from the LFA and all that sort of stuff. That I can help people with black oxygen. That's what I've been doing. And I'm a guy that says to myself, God sends messages in harsh ways, right? He really does. And you know what's more interesting is the day after that is my daughter calls me, who's an 18-year-old, who has not been a believer in any higher power. I've had debates with her in the past. Calls me up and says, hey, Dad, will you buy me a Bible? And you go, dude, talk about a message from God. Whether you believe in God or not, there's something going on there, dude, right?
That's pretty awesome. You know, I know I have those moments with my nieces.
It was a very powerful moment, dude. Yeah. I had a powerful moment of clarity after my call with the guys from the LFA when they said they wanted to distance themselves for a while, you know, all that. Where I went, God is telling me, man, you're tired of the road. You're tired of broadcasting. You don't live for the TV world. You're here to help people, right? It was a moment of clarity at that point. And then the next day, when my daughter calls, who has not believed in a higher power at all for her whole life, at 18 says, hey, Dad, can you buy me a Bible? And you go, you know what, man, there's some powerful messages there, right? Some very powerful messages. So for me, I'm taking all this in stride. It's meant to be. It's meant to happen. Whatever happens is, you know, it's kind of meant to happen. The only thing that I'm sad about is that we have a vast number of people in this nation that will allow their lizard brain to be exposed to the media and tapped into by the media, that they think those people, as they're on TV, authority on truth. That's the only thing that bothers me, is that people need to take a step back and have some sort of objective view and go, why are they telling me this? Why are they putting me in fear? Why are they injecting fear? Why are they posting pictures of a giant bat in a soup bowl and telling me I'm going to die from this virus? Why is that? Because I'm not dead yet, and I haven't worn a mask yet, bro.
I know, and you know what? It's just so weird that
we
were at the super spreader events, and that's another thing, you know, that made me want to be there is, you know, being there 3 weeks ago, it feels semi-normal when you're surrounded by not dozens, not hundreds, but now thousands of people. And the
millions.
Well, I mean, just all over, you can see them, and the vast,
and nobody's wearing a mask, and nobody gives a shit.
and people are hugging people
Right.
they've never met, and it's being human again.
Yes.
I miss that. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, especially with what's happening, Pat, this is really a spiritual battle. We'll see what happens after the inauguration of Biden.
Good versus evil, bro. Good versus evil is going on.
I believe it
Time to
100%.
win. And you know what, dude? I'm really glad to call you a fellow Bettendorfer. Huh?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you'll get a kick out of this. So one of my buddies from New York, he came to DC 3 weeks ago, or 3 weeks before the last event, and he was there. And he's been talking about expanding or whatever, and he's actually flying in tomorrow. And I'm going to start looking at, you know, something in Davenport or, you know, a bigger studio to really try to up my game, because in a world of censorship, you know, I don't feel like I'm doing enough, even though I'm doing it several times a day and I want to expand. And we're looking at doing it together. And I think we need to, because you know what's happening with big tech. Not only have they now banned the president on most platforms, but they're now letting you off of servers at Amazon. I mean, that's just madness. And forget about alternative platforms if they can't be used on iOS or Android, because they're the only games in town. And, you know, I've been talking to a bunch of these different people. Where do you think the big tech censorship goes next? Is it that actual cancel culture of jobs and you can't use our services like shilling?
Oh, yeah. You can't use certain, you know, U.S. Bank, you know, all the Deutsche Bank has already clamped down on Trump. That's the beginning of it. So we need to start our own banks, our own, basically a parallel existence, right? A parallel universe, if you will, to what these people are doing. And, you know, run it off cash, gold, run it off whatever we have to run it off of. But we need powerful people to be able to do that, or to pool our money together. I'll tell you, though, that people need to, you know, create groups that buy 100-acre plots of land and grow food, right? Raise their families together, have a school together. You know, you have a school teacher family in there. You have a former military guy in there who's an expert in special warfare. You know, you've got a tech guy. You've got a guy that's an expert in sanitation. You know, you've got enough people in a community that covers all the bases, and then you're good. You're good to go, and you take care of your families and you raise your families, and that's how you do it. I got offered a spot in a Tennessee Valley. My wife freaked the fuck out and said, absolutely not. And the only reason I say that is because, well, we're separated now. But you know, he's got 30-acre plots in a valley next to a river in Tennessee, where he offered me a spot for very cheap to build a house there and have a community. Dude, he's already got pole buildings that are 100 fucking yards long, growing banana trees, avocado trees, tomato plants, you name it. He's got everything. The community is set up already, right? And what a great place to raise kids, right?
And you know what?
I wanted to go. I would love to have gone, but, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, this spot's pretty good, man. This is a good spot. And let me say thank you for that, because, you know, I did go through the country. I did check other places out. And for instance, you know, I've had a couple people now come through here. I have a buddy who was out in Wisconsin. He had to go back to Colorado. He's actually the guy that got me into documentary filmmaking. Used to flip pizzas with him. I took him over to the local Hooters. And he was like, wait a minute, we don't have to wear a mask? I'm like, no, we don't. And he's like, there's no signs and no social distancing? I'm like, no, the girls wear masks and that's it. He's like, wow, there's like no place like this. Paul Wittenberger came in to interview me for a new film he's doing. He had his family with him. I go, dude, while you're here, you know, take him to a movie. He's like, what do you mean take him to a movie? I go, the movie theaters are open here. You could act, you know, we did, me and the family on Thanksgiving, we did the cruise. He goes, wow, that's not anywhere. My cousin was here, you know, taking him around, going just to get coffee. He's like,
talking about Iowa, right? Talking about Iowa, right?
Yeah, man. And it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big
deal.
We're
done with the shit. We're done with the shit. Everybody needs to wake up. Take your mask off. And when somebody tells you to put a mask on, tell them to fuck off. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a health department official. I don't care if it's a cop. I don't care who it is. Take your mask off. Tell them to fuck off. We're not fucking doing it. We're not subscribing to this garbage any fucking more. Time to wake up.
Well, we should all be sick and dead. It's been a week and a half, man, right? Like all these people.
Dude, if there was a real pandemic, healthy people would be dropping dead left and right. Right?
Well, I'll tell you what. I did a story.
Ambulances. I saw an ambulance today.
Yes.
Driving down the road without its lights on. I went, so abnormal for a friggin' pandemic to see an ambulance without its fucking lights on going to get somebody, right? I mean, God forbid. God, they're probably coming back from a lazy day of no activity and getting lunch.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. So I did a story this week. Ron Paul was actually banned from Facebook for community standards.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it was surrounded by a story out of Auburn, New York. Now, that's a suburb of Syracuse. And basically, through this whole thing of 10 plus months, you'd had infections there, but not one death at this nursing home facility. It was one of the better ones. They start vaccinating right around December 22nd. And guess what, Pat? By January, I believe it was 11th, they had 137 cases. They had 24 deaths in that facility alone. Now they had...
Oh, fuck yeah. That's the whole idea, dude. It's all shedding, killing, shedding, giving it out, spreading it. That's the friggin' flu vaccine, dude. That's the flu vaccine.
And listen, you point that out, and you get banned from community. Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm just pointing out a chronological happening of events.
Stop being a pussy. Stop being a pussy. Say it.
Listen, all I'm saying is if you don't have the common sense to figure it out, that's one of the reasons I abandoned New York, because they're going.
I want, look, here's what I would say.
Yep.
Here's what I would say. And I don't wish death or sickness upon any group, but I would strongly encourage all hard left-leaning Marxists to get the vaccine.
Pat,
that's what I would say.
Listen, I'm just trying to reach out.
All get the vaccine.
I'm trying to reach out to as many people.
Because I don't want those people to get sick and die of COVID. It's very important that they don't die from COVID. I mean, we want them around to be able to debate somebody, because without them, how boring would it be, Jason, if you and I were in an echo chamber of conservatives who believed in free speech and small government? I mean, how fucking boring would that be, right?
Well,
I mean, tell me.
We got
nobody. Then think about it. Your show is dead. Your show's dead. My show's dead. We've got nobody to argue with. We've got nobody to talk to. We're all for free speech. Small government, and everybody's living their lives and happy, and all of a sudden you and I are broke, and now they have to restart the Social Security system and the dependency system because we're unemployed.
Well, Cuomo's bragging about it, dude, in dystopian State of the State addresses. Like, it literally looks like something out of a horror movie where he's got the lights lit low. He talks about economies resetting. All this is really a reality. You joke about the free speech thing, but the left better understand it's coming for them as well. This isn't going to be exclusive.
Dude, do you think anybody is going to squash my free speech?
I sure hope not.
Anyone
Pat,
is going to squash my free speech?
I'm telling you what.
I mean, but
yeah.
In the end, again, I will reiterate, Jason, that we are going to have a very boring show if small government happens, right? Where you and I are talking to each other going, do you remember the time when government used to control this? Do you remember the time when, oh my God, like big tech was connected to government and they used to tell us we couldn't talk, and they deleted my account. Do you remember that time they deleted my Twitter account, Jason? Oh my God, it was just incredible. Dude, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Listen. You know me. I know it. And
The
you're
morons
funny.
out there, you have to use reverse engineering or knowledge or whatever.
Yeah. Reverse psychology
Reverse
on people.
psychology with these fucking morons because eventually big government comes for these fucking people that supported them, right? So, like the guys like Mike Jackson, who did the hit piece on me, he's a brown shirt, right? He's a Nazi brown shirt, is what he is. And eventually, his services will be no longer needed if they reach their goals, right? So eventually, as proven through history, the Bolshevik Revolution, Mao Zedong, the Nazi takeover of Germany. Eventually, the brown shirts are no longer needed, and the higher level animals are hired and brought in, the SS, and they line up the brown shirts like Mike Jackson, and they're put against the wall and they're fucking shot, right? We know that.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what history shows.
Mike Jackson, who launched this attack on me to get me banned from my TV broadcasting job. Eventually, you'll serve no purpose, brother, and you will get lined up on a wall and you will get fucking shot. And quite frankly, I hope I'm standing next to you on that wall when we get shot so I can smile at your fucking ass and go, I told you so. But here's the thing. I'm a cunning enough and badass enough person that I won't be the motherfucker standing next to you. I'll be the dude standing by. I'll be the motherfucker standing behind the people shooting you, giving the fucking order, and then shooting them.
Oh,
that's the fucking guy I am, right? That's the guy I am because I'm going to take the shit over and we're going to have a free country again.
I hope so, Pat. I think we got a long way to go. I think that obviously, you're never going to defeat evil all the way. I think this uniparty is scary. I think.
We will defeat evil. We will crush evil, and this is going to be a crushing blow to evil when this stuff launches, buddy. We got 1 week to count down, bro. We got 1 week to count down, and it's going to hit the fan, bro. It's going to hit the fan.
I hope you're wrong, bro. I really do. But, I do want to point out.
Fight.
I want to point out one last thing, guys. That, again, if this was so dangerous, remember, this is the police presence you're looking. And you notice that the police aren't getting physical with anybody at that top level because they're not really rushing the Capitol. That's where the real entrance would have been right there, guys, on the top where the quote-unquote mob was. And as you can see, the cops are just standing there. Those are the ones in the gear. The media is selling you a lot of lies and Johnny nonsense. Obviously, you can see how many people are there. Again, this is going to be used to make us all domestic terrorists. Cancel culture's mega. What's next, Pat? I know you were doing some XFC. You told me Black Oxygen. Tell people about Black Oxygen, how they can get it through your link, what exactly it is, and why you're going to be moving towards that. But listen, truth be told, man, you're awesome on the mic. I look forward at least to the caged aggression stuff, but I'm a hardcore. I'm actually, I got Fight Pass. I'll be watching LFA tomorrow. I'll be honest. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, it's awesome when you hear somebody like yourself that, is a legendary UFC fighter, has coached forever, and you're good on the mic on top of it. Like I'm actually interested in what you're saying. So I think that the UFC hasn't utilized you enough and brought you up. They should use this opportunity, especially if, Dana is going to speak at these Trump events in the first place. It blows my mind that they would even try to distance themselves from you because you are so skilled and you are so good at calling fights. What's next? What's next, my friend?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, right now I'm focused on Black Oxygen, a product that adds 45% more oxygen at the cellular level, which by itself ends all supplements, right? I can go through a supplement company's brochure and flip the pages. Okay, deals with gut biome, deals with respiratory issues, deals with fatigue, pre-workout, this. And I can go page after page after page and go, yep, Black Oxygen addresses that, fixes it, fixes this, fixes that, fixes. So, I mean, I'm the guy that has gotten to the point with Black Oxygen because of what it's done for so many people around me, including my brother. My brother's still alive. His basically terminal cancer has disappeared in 2.5 months. I can't say that's because of black oxygen. I can say it can be contributed to it. But I also had a friend who did nothing different. And I have to say, this does not treat, cure, or prevent any disease or sickness by FDA standards. I had a friend laying in hospice 30 miles north.
Oh, I hope we didn't lose him. Pat,
Who now?
Good. We're losing you.
A buddy in hospice 30 miles north of me. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're on now.
Okay. A pastor friend who was in hospice 30 miles north of me walked out of hospice. Two months later, they kicked him out of hospice, and he no longer is dying. He's living. So if you want to tell me anything you've ever done for somebody medically, to allow a person to walk out of hospice, let me know. But I don't know of any other people that have walked out of hospice, bro.
I certainly don't know any either. And I remember you telling me the story before they left hospice when I met you over the summer.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
So where can they get that?
What is happening with black oxygen is life-changing. It is life-changing. And I again will say it cannot treat, cure, or prevent any disease or sickness. But I can tell you that the endurance athletes are getting from it, from 45% more oxygen at a cellular level, and then the healing that people are getting from it is it's unexplainable. Let's put it that way. It's unexplainable.
Well, I've seen Boss Rutan get involved after you introduced him to it. Chris Cyborg.
Yeah, it changed his life, right?
and I'm a big Boss fan. And if there's anybody that's been banged up, and Boss Rutan would be one of those guys. Pat, when are we seeing the next episode of the Conspiracy Farm? When are you getting back on your horse? That, and how can people find out more about Black Oxygen through you?
Well, number one, people can find Black Oxygen through blackoxygenorganics.com/Pat Miletich. The Conspiracy Farm is going to cover the ridiculous state of affairs our country is in, of course. I won't give details because there's so many friggin' categories we could cover. But more than anything else, I'm going to keep living, keep updating my house, keep doing my thing, keep trudging along, and keep winning, like truly winning, Jason. You are a fucking winner. You don't stop. You keep grinding. I'm the same guy. I don't look. Hey, I love broadcasting. I love TV. I love the fact that I have had great jobs over the years with Showtime Sports, Access TV, ESPN, all of them. But you know what? God told me I probably should go a different direction and help people with black oxygen. So I'll do that. I'll save a fucking 1,000 lives at a time. I'll kick ass and have a blast. And if somebody wants to call me for a broadcast, they can. But ultimately, I'm okay with not being on TV, bro. Because TV does not define me. I mean, think about it. Do we need TV? Do I want to be? I've never wanted to be rich and famous, right? Never wanted to be rich and famous. That was not my goal. Now, rich, on the other hand,
I'm telling people don't understand
cool.
that, man. Like
listen, it's kind of cool.
Exactly. It's good to be able to be self-sufficient. And again, through my audience this year, I had a good year this year. Right. I wouldn't have been able to move my family here and be in a nice neighborhood. Right. And my kids wouldn't be going to school, and they wouldn't be in cheer and all these other things. And it's important to be financially stable. The fame thing. You look at some of these people that get involved in politics, and you see that it's really just to gravitate towards being a cult of personality and somebody famous. And that's not me. I can see that's not you, but I'll tell you what, man, we might have to take over that Iowa Congress. I mean, that might have to be the next step. Me and you.
Oh, I'm trust me, I'm seriously considering running for office. I mean, they tried to groom me for U.S. Senator, actually.
Well, I'd like you to be in the Senate, man.
But once I started to see the process of becoming a U.S. Senator, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went, nah, not for me, man. I'm selling my soul the minute I get into this. Fuck that. No,
Listen,
not doing it.
We'll do it Congress style.
I could see U.S. congressmen. I could win U.S. Congress without any bullshit fucking votes and bullshit money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I could get enough money from just citizens, right, to win that, like for a Congress seat. But senator, dude, that's the belly of the beast. Bro.
I know it
Belly
is.
of the beast.
That's only 2 per state. All right, Pat. Listen, we're gonna have to do it again soon. Maybe I'll even see you this weekend. Maybe we'll hit it up. And keep your
Let's
head
hang
up.
out.
Man.
You want to go to the polling room?
Yeah. Listen, hit me up on the text, and we'll definitely go do something.
Meet me at the polling room, bro, on Saturday.
All right, Saturday night. It sounds good. All right, Pat. Thank you, man. Buddy. I appreciate it, brother. All right,
love you, bro.
Love you, everybody. That is Pat Miletich. Okay, again, so important. So important. And again, he's become a friend. He's done really good things for me. I don't know what to tell you. This is why it drives me nuts when you try to put people into boxes and you want to call my friends domestic terrorists or Nazis or white supremacists. I promise you, that dude is none of those things. He's a good guy. All right? So you can follow him over at Miletich P over on Twitter. You can hit me up on the GoFundMe. We're partying like it's 1999. Apparently, they've gotten rid of the ability for you to leave a comment there because they don't want you to be able to interact. I might even go live a little later on, go cook myself a dinner. And you can check out this video I was going to do on Trump and big tech censorship and the irony of the Mexican president speaking out against big tech censorship. We're relying on Mexico now. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order, Define, and Shade the Motion Picture are free right here, right now in the playlist section. Someone said that Loose Change wasn't working for them. Let's make sure it's still working. Oh, it's up. It's up, baby. You can go watch it right now. They're all free right here, right now. Rockfin. I will be live. Live. When is it? 11 a.m. tomorrow. Hopefully, Eastern. I was a little late today. Okay. If you are a premium subscriber, it's like a Netflix for creators, a lot of great creators, and we're backing it all up on Odyssey these days. Guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you again to Pat Miletich. We'll see you on the flip. Love you.